Globbo. Man, do I have an oddball for you today, guys. Talk about your niche hex-n-counter wargaming. Globbo is a game for two players by Alan Varney, developed by Steve Jackson. This was originally published in Space Gamer number 62. Look for the issue with a pretty girl on the cover. It was 1980s. They hadn't yet realized that pretty girls are the patriarchy and banned them from magazine covers. April 1983. Later, Steve Jackson would go on to produce a more bespoke version of Globbo. That's what I saw in the game store way back in the mid-80s. It was about 5 or 10 Reagan bucks. Update that to Biden bucks, and it would probably set you back $10,000 right now. We're probably due, Steve Jackson loves making those real bespoke versions. We're probably due for $150 bespoke version of Globbo, and that'll break $1 million in the Kickstarter, because some of you guys, man, you got a real problem. But we're not here to talk about consumerism and all that. I will point out, I don't buy Steve Jackson games anymore. He told me not to because I believe that we should protect the lives of the most innocent and vulnerable among us. And he said, if you're one of those nasty people, don't buy my games. I don't. I got my copy of Globbo from an archive on the internet. It's kind of a library, and you can download a PDF for your personal use. I printed this up. I took the counters, and look at that. I even got them all made up. I feel real old school. I glued them to the back of a cereal packet. I believe it was Cheerios on the menu that morning. And when the wife opens the door to the cupboard and she sees that there's just a bag of cereal without the box, she just looks at me and gives me the wargamer wife look. You know what I'm talking about. Got them all cut out. Not all of them, because there is, well, we'll get to that in a second. You can download and print yourself a copy. This was also during that era. Oh, so that's what I did. I got a legal library copy while it's still available from that archive on the internet, printed it up, little glue. Remember, you want to use the glue stick, and then you cut that out using your cutting board and your craft knife. You're ready to go. So what the heck is this? Well, and why are you even playing this? If Steve Jackson said, don't touch my stuff. Well, when I was a kid, I saw this. I saw the magazine version in the game store, and I always wanted to try it, but I never could justify the expense. Thanks to the magic of the internet, I can justify the expense today, and I can share with you just a little taste of what things were like back in the 1980s. And I can go on to tell you that this was during that period of time in Steve Jackson games when they were more concerned with gameplay, and I feel like the story or the elements layered on top were kind of an afterthought. This was new to me, right? This is the era of Snit's Revenge and Snit smashing and that sort of thing. This was new to me, that you could have a hex-n-counter war game that wasn't about fantasy battles, space combat, historical battles. You could just have this weird, what's the word I'm looking for? Abstract situation. So let's take a look at it. This is Globbo, and the situation is weird. Don't get too hung up on it, right? He is a semi-sentient, quasi-organic, polymorphous playroom assassination device. He slam dunks his victims. Let's see. Globbo is the jovial, fun-filled executioner of the children on the planet. Wow, Steve. Okay. Little on brand here, aren't you? Anyway, the point is, we're going to have, this is us, kind of, right? There's two players. One player plays Globbo. He's kind of like an ogre in this playroom, and he's trying to smash the kids. But what kind of kids do we have? We have biters, we have blips, and we have yeasts. The biters are fast, and they bite, and they're trying to kill their caretaker. The blips are not quite as strong. They kind of float around. And then the yeasts, here's where it gets interesting. Globbo is going to try to smash and clear the board of all of these guys. If he smashes a biter, it splits into blips and yeasts. If two blips and a yeast occupy the same hex, they turn back into another biter. So it's one of those games where things are going to evolve. Let's just dive in and play a few turns of it, okay? I'm going to give you about a 20, 30-minute video to show you how the game plays. This is my first time playing it. This video might be a little bit, oh, wait, does that mean what? How, what? If that's the case, we'll record another video that's just we dive straight in. We can get rid of all of the background and analyzing why Steve Jackson is terrible, you shouldn't give him money and all that stuff, and we can just focus on the game. In fact, maybe you want to do that now, except let's take a look at the board And I should point out, see the walls? We don't have to worry about the walls. These are teleporters. There's 6 of them. And interestingly enough, the board wraps around. Let me clean it up. That's a little better. What we have here is a donut, or a toroid for you math nerds. You can see there are the letters A through O on this side and this side. If you exit hex H, you come back on hex H. This, in other words, I guess a better way to put that is that this hex right here that doesn't exist is actually this hex here. So if I move from this hex down to the southwest, that means I appear over here. Likewise, to the north and south. And they helpfully provide us with N and N. So this hex that's off the board is this hex right here. The walls don't exist for our initial playthrough. This is our protagonist, Globbo. You can see he has a face. He's got 6 blue zaps and 12 red slaps. He's going to start expanding and stretching. What we need to establish first is that the head moves 3 hexes on a turn. He attacks with a strength of 5. When he attacks a critter, you roll a d6 and you total up all of the attacks that are going after it, and you roll a d6 and you need that number or less. So when he shoots, he's got a range of 15 hexes, but he can only shoot in a straight line. So if our face is shooting to here, he cannot hit an enemy that is outside of these 6 straight lines. Likewise with the blue zaps. The zaps only have a range of 3, and they only have a strength of 1. The slaps can only attack adjacent hexes, and is there anything else? They have an attack strength of 2. As far as movement is concerned, the first thing you do is move the head, and then you bring the rest of these guys into position around the head. We'll get to that in a minute. Before we do, I will establish that we have, for the kids, if you will, we've got these things called biters. And biters, as you see here, can move 4 hexes. They have an attack strength of 2, but they can only attack adjacent hexes. Blips can move 2, but unlike biters, they float, so they can pass over Globbo. The biters have to stop and attack. The blips have an attack strength of 3, but when they attack, they are removed from the table. So they just do little suicidal attacks, and they can only attack the same hex. But you may want to do that. We'll get why in a little bit. And the yeasts, of course, are essentially, they just sit there like lumps. If you can get 2 blips into them, then you can bring a thingy onto the table in place of the yeast and the 2 blips. How does the game actually play? As I said, I've never played it, so let's take a look. The kids start with 6 biters. Globbo sets up first. No more than, he has to be at least 4 hexes away from the nearest war pole. I should point out, there's 5 war poles. When a kid moves onto a war pole, he rolls a d6 to find out where he reappears. So on a 2, he doesn't appear anywhere. On a 6, and that will be the Other Realms, this is my local game store. They're branded dice. On a result of a 1, will appear on the 1, and on a 6, the kid is sucked away forever. Again, only blips and biters can move, so yeasts need not apply. We're not using the walls, so just forget about those for this particular game. And once Globbo sets up, which we've set up in the center of the board, now our biters can set up. Because I'm not sure how this is going to work, I just scattered the biters around the map. On any given turn, Globbo gets to move first. And as I said, movement for Globbo is a little bit weird. Globbo flows like water. The first thing we do is move Globbo's head 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. We're going to put his head there. Then we rearrange Globbo however we want. But the rule is, well, there's a couple of them. Each blue slap has to be next to a head or another blue slap. Globbo can reach tendrils of blue zaps out that have slaps attached to them. Now, I've arranged Globbo in this pattern because what it does is, wait, do I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? Oh, I'm missing 1 slap. This slap is going to be a pain. I'm going to have to slip it right there. I want to maximize the number of attacks I've got. Once Globbo is done moving, he can attack. So I have 2 slaps that have, remember, an attack strength of 2. So these 2 slaps are going to try to hammer this biter right here. I need a 4 or less. I get a 1, and this biter dies. Now, he gets replaced with, I'm going to flip him over. We're going to do all the attacks first. He's going to get replaced with those blips and yeasts. In the meantime, I have a couple of other attacks. Globbo here is not, he's not quite in line. He's got no attack in that direction or this direction. He can't shoot through any of his pieces, any parts of Globbo or other kids. So if I had swung this around, let's do that since we're still kind of experimenting. We need to bring that red slab. There we go. So now we have an attack by setting it up like that. Remember, the walls don't exist. We can attack this biter with the head, and the head has an attack strength of 5. So we reroll, and on anything but a 6, we get a 1. This biter also goes down. We have a couple of more zaps here, 1, 2, that have a range of 1, 2, 3. Line of sight is pretty, I don't know. Can we come around this way? With the zaps with a short range, I think maybe we can. 2 zaps, we need a 1 or a 2 to kill this biter. We get a 5 and we miss regardless. All right, we're done with Globbo's turn. Now we can deal with our kids. Let's take this dead biter first. In the 2-player game, the kid that controls the kids takes 6 counters, any mix of yeasts and blips, and puts them, and basically replaces this. So the biter goes to biter heaven, and we now have 6 pieces that we get to choose, and we get to choose where they go. Well, actually, he chooses any combination, up to 6. So he could take 6 blips, he could take 6 yeast. In our case, we're going to draw at random. I've put all my blips and yeast in this red bag, and I drew them at random. And we're just going to stack them up here. The biter blows up, and these pieces all move 2 hexes, like so. Interestingly, there's our 6. Okay, there's our 6. The Globbo player moves them. So again, the kid player stacks up the 6, and then the Globbo decides which ones move where. The biter player knows which is which, the Globbo player does not. This is very simple for us. We got 4 biters and 2 yeast, so if we're blips. So if we can get these blips down here, we can spawn 2 more biters. Up over here, things get a little more complicated, don't they? Because you still have to draw the 6. And again, I'm just going to do this at random because I'm doing this as a solo player. So I pull them out of the bag, and I put them like this, and I put them face down. So I've swapped out my biter for these 6 yeasts and blips. The biter may come back. Now we move these pieces like this, and notice that Globbo is in the way here. This means something. I didn't realize this as I did my first attack. But this piece that moves 2 down here lands on Globbo and takes that chunk of Globbo with him. So the very act of destruction by slapping at it destroyed one of my zaps. Oh no! Notice this red slap is now out of alignment because it's not attached to, it's attached to other slaps. I need to check and see if that can move. Be that as it may, where we wind up is a yeast, a blip, a yeast, and another blip. That's how things stop at the end of this phase of the game. Now it's the biter turn proper. And I know that all the kids, I'm just going to refer to it as a biter. It's easier for me to remember. It's Globbo versus the biters. It turns out it is 3 blips and a yeast. So we're going to move this blip to safety. 1, 2. He moves into the warp, and he instantly reappears at number 1. The yeasts can't move. To keep things simple, I'm going to move all of my blips first, and then I'll move all of my biters. This blip is going to warp down to the other side of the table, 1, 2, and appear here, and then these blips will try to get to safety. They're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We have another one here too. He's going to go 1, 2. You can stack kids, because remember our blips are floating. We're trying to get 3 of them onto one of these yeasts. And then, if we had 3, at the end of movement, boop, they turn into a biter. The biter cannot attack that turn. He's disoriented. Now our biters get to go, and our biters we're gonna bring 1 biter to here. We're gonna bring, and remember, biters can move. Here it is on our chart. 3 hexes, 1, 2, 3. Let's just go full attack, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. So we're closing in. How about right down there? I think that looks a little bit better. And we're done. Except we do have 1 attack. This biter is not very strong. He attacks with a strength of 2. He's going to try to attack this slap. And with a result of a 3, nothing happens. That is now, well, that's not the end of the turn. Our head gets 1 regeneration point. We didn't talk about that yet. See this, where is it? Cost to regenerate. You can regenerate a second head. If you wait 4 turns, I'm going to wait a turn. I'm not quite there yet. You can get a second Globbo. I'm going to use this die to help me remember that I have 1 regeneration point. At the end of the second turn, I get a second point. It costs 2 points to regenerate a zap and 1 point to regenerate a slap. One other thing we should talk about, if we had lost this zap right here, then all of these pieces would start movement disconnected from the head. They can't move this turn. The head can move back into alignment to bring them into contact, and anything that's attached to him can move, but that doesn't apply this turn, so we're okay. The question then, now, yeasts are easy. In fact, I think what we'll do is we'll bring our head up 1, 2, 3. How about right there? We're going to try to sweep north, and as we go, because everybody was attached, we can just reassign these however we want. This is what I'd like to do. It would allow me to slap these 2 yeasts and this yeast over here. The problem is I have 2 slaps remaining. This is not a legal setup because these slaps can't come off the head. They have to be attached to the zap, and they cannot be adjacent to the head. I got to rethink what I'm doing. This is probably a better setup anyway. We've got some slappers blocking this biter from attacking the head. If the head dies, the game is over. So a little bit of defensive. Now, as I said, any slap that's in the same hex as a yeast kills that yeast outright. I have 2 more attacks with the slaps. I've got a yeast here I'm trying to slap, and I get a 1, 2, 3, so this yeast goes bye-bye. And I've got a yeast here that's taken 2 slaps with an attack strength of 2. We need a 4 or less, so this yeast goes bye-bye as well. I think that's it for the slaps, and then we don't have any zaps, I don't think. If I could have brought my head here, I could have zapped at this guy. Everybody else is further than 3 away, or there's no line of sight, so we're done. That means it is, and we didn't kill any biters this time. That means it's time for the kids to move. And possibly attack. As before, let's move our blips. We're going to stack these guys up. So we've got our 3 blips and a yeast, and here we've got 2 blips and a yeast, and I think that's all the blips we've got. So we're gonna hang tight on that. Our biter is gonna move to here and take a shot. We'll move this biter 1, 2, 3, and we'll move this biter 1, 2, 3. Oh, biters can move 4. We'll move that 4th and our 4th. Oh, and then this guy can move 1, 2. We'll roll the die. He appears on portal number 5. And I like that. 1, 2. He can move up this way towards... No, let's bring him down this way. He's a little closer going that way, don't you think? Maybe we can bring him down and defend from this... Wow, this is such a weird game. We have to bring him down here to defend against an attack up north. Bizarre. We only have 1 attack for our biter. He's going to attack this slap right here. And with a result of a 4, our biter is going to fail. He has an attack strength of 2. That's the end of the turn. Our Globbo goes to 2 regeneration points, and he can spend those now to get a zap back. And I think we're going to do that. It gives us a little more flexibility. So we immediately drop a zap down, and it is Globbo's turn. We're out of regeneration points. But it gives us a little more freedom of movement with our slaps. We're still... Oh, I forgot. These guys, at the end of their movement, turn into a biter. So we have another biter that appears right there. Now, as I said, he can't move. He can't attack last turn, but this turn he can. So we went from having 6 biters to having just 5 biters. Oh, to just having 5 biters now. Interesting. We definitely, well, let's put our head in a position to take a shot. 1, 2. We're going to move him there. There's no more yeast up here. We want to try and deal with these guys. So we're going to wrap around. We'll put a couple of zaps there. And a couple of, let me just move all of my Globbo pieces out of the way. Tightened it up a little bit. We've got some attacks. We've got to roll a, oh, here come the zoomers. I wonder if you guys can hear that. I'm on the approach for the certain attack craft. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. We're going to attack this biter first. And on a 6, we fail. We've got 2 slaps at this biter, and 2 zaps are in range. Is that the same? Can we combine those strengths? I think we can. I think that gives us a total attack strength of, the slaps are attack strength of 2. Oh! Slaps are 2, zaps are 1. That gives us, oh, that gives us a 2, 4, 6. We will kill this guy automatically, and we'll kill this guy automatically. So let me flip him over. Blip, blip. And then this one, we've got a total attack strength of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we kill 3 biters. And now we're going to have to deal with a huge rainfall of kids. As before, we'll bring these guys out. They move 2 hexes in all 6 of the, I guess, would you call those cardinal directions? There, there, there. And I don't know which are yeasts and which are blips. Bing, bing. Where did you come from? There, and let's see. You came that. Oh, I know. You came from this guy. That's right. I think we're almost good. You go here. Oh, that's a pretty big tendril to wipe out. We go here, here, here. You get the idea. Let me turn the camera off. Here's what the blips look like. But there's one thing I didn't quite get right. It says here, if a blip has entered a Globbo hex. Wait a minute. The face-down counters can move through or land on kids. They fly over walls, but when it encounters a piece of Globbo, it will stop immediately. After the Globbo players finish moving, they are turned up. If a blip from the explosion has entered a Globbo hex, all pieces in that hex are destroyed. If the yeast is destroyed. In other words, and this is why you have to do this randomly. This is why in a 2-player game, you want the Globbo player to pick which pieces move where, face down. The kid player knows the ratio of yeasts to blips, but the Globbo player doesn't. I had 3 blips move through these 3 hexes. They will destroy these 3 slaps, but these 3 kids will also be destroyed in those. They're basically mutual assured destruction there, okay? Likewise, up here, I had a blip move to the north. It's going to take out both the blip and the slap. We're going to remove this blip and this. Oh. If it's a blip, both pieces are destroyed. If it's yeast, the yeast is destroyed, but Globbo is unharmed. So up here, we had an explosion in this hex. This blip moved south and was destroyed and took this blue zap with it. This blip took this red zap with it. This blip took this red zap with it. With a lot of blips here. Oh man, this was absolutely devastating for Globbo this time around. And I think that's it. I think that's all of the guys that hit anything. So Globbo has been significantly shrunk, but we're down to just 2 biters on the board. It becomes Globbo's turn. So what does Globbo want to do as far as movement is concerned? Do we sweep down and try to wipe out these things first? Take a look at what your enemy's going to do. This blip is clearly going to try to get down to here, so we could run north. I think we don't worry about the yeasts for right now. I think we have to come down and try to get rid of these blips so no more biters appear. That's got to be our goal. We can move a total of 3 hexes. 1, 2, 3. Oh, but there's a blip there. So what does that mean? We don't want to be in the same hex as a blip. I think we go 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and stop right there. And then we recombobulate. But this hand was disconnected, so I had to stretch out in order to get connected to a blue zap. That does give me only one chance. I feel like slaps automatically kill yeasts when we attack. Red slap only attacks adjacent hexes. Yep. So we only have a 1 or a 2 to kill this yeast, and we don't. But we do have a zap that can attack here on a 1. We don't. We have a total of attack of 4 against this blip, and we get him. And then we have a total attack of 1, 2, 3 against this blip right here, and we got him. That's the end of Globbo's turn. Did I forget at the end of that turn that Globbo gets 1 regen? I think I did. I think he's got 1 regen point. And that's going to be the end of the turn. For Globbo, the biters, well, I guess I should say this blip is going to move down here. We might get another biter. And then we're going to leap to defend. We're going to go 1, 2, and 1, 2 with these biters. And it doesn't look like we have any attacks. All the rest of these guys are yeasts. Globbo gets a 2nd regeneration point, and we're going to spend both of those on another zap. I think we're definitely going to need more of those. We get to move 3 hexes. I think that yeast was there. So we're going to take the fight to these biters. We have to hurry up. The yeast can't move. We just got to try to get these guys out. If we can get rid of enough blips, we may be able to pull this off. So our head, now everybody's connected, so I don't have to worry about that. Our head is going to leap down to here. And, we may want to do something like this time around. Maybe we stick with the zaps. If we go like this, we can reach out and touch some yeast. And we can even bring, well, we got this guy here. I want to try and get this biter, but I don't want to put myself at too much risk. Our head can zap that yeast, so let's reach out. If we do like this, we got 2 shots with, let's reach out like that. I think that gives us 1, 2, 3. Oh, we get 2 shots with those guys. Where do we put? I'm just going to put this slap right there, okay? No, I'm going to keep it tight. I'm going to, ooh, this is very interesting. Okay, so here's where we're at. We've got, this guy's range. We need to bring him down like that. That's only going to get, but I don't like that. Oh, so many difficult choices. I love games like this. If we bring this guy down and this guy out, then we abandon that yeast. But I think that's what we want to do. We're going to cover up the hole too. This gives us 3 blue zaps that can all reach this guy. 1, 2, 3. And so taking the shot, we on a 1, 2, or 3, we zap him. Oh, we don't. Oh, that would have been nice. Okay, now over here, we've got a slap and 2 zaps. So on a 1 through 4, we'll tag. And we don't. That biter survives. And then our face is going to shoot this yeast. And on a result of a 1, at least that yeast goes by. I'm a poet. I didn't realize it. On the movement phase, these old boys are going to combine to form the ultimate Voltron biter. Oh, shoot. I forgot. It was right. I think it was right there, wasn't it? So we're down to just 3 biters. There is a blip. There is one more blip way over here. See him? See him over here? He's been sitting out hiding in that warp. I keep forgetting to move him. Let's move him right now. 1, 2. And I should have waited to replace that guy, but I didn't. So we're going to go 1, 2, and we're going to try to attack this blue zap. Because if we can, we'll leave all of these guys pinned, and the face is going to be in trouble. We have 2 attacks at, let's see, biters attack with a strength of 2. They can move 4. I could go 1, 2, 3. Let's do that. We're going to attack that with a strength of 4. And we get it. So this blue zap goes goodbye. And now these pieces are in trouble. It forces Globbo to stay where he's at. Globbo, of course, is going to get another regeneration point. And he says, I need another... We'll wait until next turn and buy a zap, I think. I like the zaps, though. Sorry about the bump. We have to move our head to here. And then we'll bring our zaps to here and here and work our hands around. We're going to throw hands like this. I didn't spend any regen points. Globbo now gets to make his attacks. We've got a total of 4 on this biter. And with a 6, we miss. We've got a total of, and each of these can only attack once. So our head is going to attack this guy with a total strength of 5. And with a 1, we get him. So we flip him over. And then I think that's the only other attack we have. It is. So we go to our pile of stuff, draw 6 random counters, and we drop those down in place of the biter. And then our counters are going to go 1. If that's a blip, it hits the face, and that's going to be the end of the game. The blip destroys the head of Globbo, and the kids have won. They're going to overrun the joint, and the people that are planning the parenthood on this weird planet of, what's it called? It's like called Ticket a Coup. They are going to be so distraught that the Globbo couldn't kill all of these little kids. What a shame. Kind of an interesting oddball game, isn't it? It's very much an exercise in abstract game design, and I think that's enough for today. We've gone long enough. I'm going to play one more game of this, start to finish in the next video, and we will add in the walls and see how that changes the strategy for Globbo. I don't think this was a smart play, but hey, cut me some slack, guys. I've never played this game before. I'm still learning as I go. Now that I have a firmer grasp of the rules, maybe we'll do a little bit better on planning and strategizing in the future. Until then, remember, I'm Mr. Wargaming, and I am praying for you.